Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to the OR News broadcast. It is 6 o'clock, and that means it's time for our daily English Flash News edition. And as usual, I'm Daniel Cook, your host. After announcing his operation against business informality, Prime Minister Rama has been personally monitoring the situation in the field. Mr. Rama had coffee in a bar today in the former block area, along with the tax director, Basida Shahai. He did receive a sales receipt from the business, after which he repeated his statement that this is not a battle against the small business sector. I want to explain that the attempt to make this operation look like a war against small business is deceitful. I say this because by getting sales receipts, we prevent tax evasion by big businesses as well. Insisting that you receive a sales receipt is a patriotic obligation in order to give a direct contribution to the strengthening of the public finances. In this way, we will have more opportunity to invest in schools, kindergartens, infrastructure, and increase the quality of services. Above all, we'll have the opportunity to decrease taxes and to increase salaries for everyone, said Prime Minister Rama. He went on to explain why sales receipts are so important for this goal. If 1 million coffees and waters are consumed in a day at the average cost of 100 lek, there are $61 million per day going to an unknown direction, money that could be invested in various areas. This money goes in an unknown direction and represents massive tax evasion. On the other hand, small businesses should also be interested in issuing the sales receipts because they, along with the citizens, can help with decreasing this evasion, said Mr. Rama. When asked about the long lines at the national registration centers, the Prime Minister said that the offices are currently working overtime and that it would have been better for them if the business owners had registered their enterprises earlier. The government's new operation against business informality has forced many business owners to close down temporarily and to rush to the registration centers. This has caused long lines at the offices where business owners are waiting for up to several hours. Most of the owners are applying for a license for brand new businesses, denying that they have already been operating informally for some time. The situation was the same in Elbasan, Fier, and Shkodër, where long lines were observed at the registration centers. Sources from the tax inspectorate in Shkodër say that around 60% of businesses have been closed down completely, and that many of them are now for sale. The story is much the same in Elbasan and Fier. Those business owners who hope to stay open are rushing to legalize their businesses before the tax inspectors come through next week. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance is urging business owners to register online at the official national registration website. This will help cut down the long lines at the offices. Ministry sources explain that if business owners show an online application to the tax inspectors during an audit, they will not be penalized. It will be enough to show that they have begun the registration procedure. The Democratic chairman Lulzim Basha made the announcement today that the Democratic Party of Albania has now become a member with full rights of the European popular parties with a unanimous vote. The Democratic chairman participated in the assembly of the EPP today, where he declared that bad governance has brought economic crisis to Albania, as well as corruption and the appointment of people with criminal records to high-ranking positions, including parliament, local government, and the police. Mr. Basha met with the president of the EPP, Joseph Daul, the chairman of the Foreign Committee, Elmar Brok, and the MEPs Kukan, Fleckenstein, and Rubik. He held meetings with other senior EU officials as well. Basha made the following statement from Brussels. The June 21st election was the main concern of these meetings, in which the citizens were deprived of their rights to express free will by Rama and Meta, in which votes were purchased, and there was pressure against the administration, the voters, and the institutions, in which there was a lack of willingness by the majority to implement the decriminalization process, and in which people with criminal records were allowed to run in the local elections, said Mr. Basha. The Minister of Energy has announced that recent checks of the mining areas have revealed that 62 have proven dangerous. In a media statement today, Minister Gjiknuri said that the activity of these mining operations will be suspended because they endangered the lives of the workers and the residents. The minister gave the following details. Specifically, the mining activity in Area D of the Bulqiza mine is now suspended, as we consider it to be a dangerous work environment. When we came to power, we found that there were 800 mineral permits issued. We have now revoked over 200 mineral permits for operations that did not meet the safety criteria, and we are finishing the procedures for the removal of 32 more. 119 abandoned passages have been closed down, and we are planning to close 64 others. Determining the dangerous zones will increase the safety for the miners, and in coordination with the state police and the labor inspectorate, we will be monitoring these dangerous areas to prevent any illegal activity. The minister added that the return of legality to the mining sector will bring greater security for the miners and greater benefits for the state budget. There have been a growing number of students enrolling in Albania's vocational schools in the recent days. The figures were announced by the Minister of Social Welfare, Blendi Klosi, during a meeting with the principals of the vocational schools. Mr. Klosi indicated that the ministry is now drafting a new bill according to European standards to support the vocational education program. The number of students enrolling in vocational schools so far has exceeded all expectations, reaching 1,900 across the country. Minister Klosi announced that there will be scholarship opportunities for the needy students. Data from the General Directorate of Vocational Education in the capital city reveals that 408 students have enrolled since the opening day of registration, and the highest number of new students will be attending the vocational high school in Kamez. We are 2 days away from a major city cleaning operation that has been planned by the municipality, and Tirana's new mayor, Veliaj, gathered his 24 administrators together today to give his final directions for the project. Mayor Veliaj asked that his administrators be fully committed to the operation, encouraging them to give it their full attention. The new mayor also had a warning for the companies that have been contracted by the city for the cleaning project. He said that they will be evaluated for their work in this operation, and that the continuation of their contracts will depend on this evaluation. He also issued an open invitation to the citizens of Tirana to take part in the cleaning project on Friday. In order to keep Tirana in a cleaner place, Mr. Veliaj has declared that he will be asking the City Council to quadruple the fines for littering. The Albanian national football team is getting ready for a difficult challenge on September 4th against Denmark. The coach is working hard to prepare his team for the difficult match ahead. He has opened up the training sessions for the fans and the media, unlike the coach of the Denmark team, who has not allowed any spectators in training. The Danish media is a bit upset with the Denmark coach Martin Olsen, who only allowed them in to observe for 15 minutes. He declared that he has kept the same policy for other matches as well. The Danish coach does seem somewhat concerned about the outcome of this important game for the European Championship. Both teams currently have equal points in the ranking of Group I. In the coming season, the Theatre of Opera and Ballet will be undergoing a radical transformation. The director of the theater announced that the building is going to be reconstructed, but he did not mention where the shows will take place in the meantime. Director Kearney made the following statement. During the reconstruction period, we have thought about moving around. There will be shows on the Tirana stages and also in the region and beyond. He also presented the new director of ballet and gave an overview of the artistic calendar for the season. We have the opera Don Giovanni as well as Carmina Borari, which is one of the major works, he said. In November, we will have a ballet in Italy, and for the holidays in December, we will be in Germany. Mr. Kearney dropped a hint that some of the most renowned performers in the world will be coming to Albania, but he preferred to leave the specific details as a surprise. That concludes our news for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be with us again tomorrow at the same time for more translated news in English. Thanks. Have a great night.